This is Louisa, and I'm going to talk to you today about how your thoughts can affect your emotions and how your emotions can affect the way you behave. So, sometimes, do you ever feel that when you're in a situation, you feel like you lose out of control because obviously you feel like your emotions are automatic, they just come like that, but you can't control it? Or do you ever feel that the situation that you're in is inevitable? You can't do anything about it. Well, you're wrong because there's loads of stuff you can do about it, but the main focus is not the thoughts, it's not the emotions, it's the way you behave about the thoughts and emotions. So, for instance, say for instance, if you think that your girlfriend's going to cheat on you, that's your thoughts, yeah? But your emotions, that might be insecure, you might feel nervous, you might feel paranoid, you might feel really frustrated. Whatever emotions that you feel, for instance, for that, that would affect how you behave, yeah? And how you behave will affect the situation more because it will have an impact and it feeds your thoughts because it's a cycle. So the way you behave is important because that could make the matters worse, for instance, and you can obviously behave in a positive way instead of a negative way. So because your thoughts affect your emotions affect your behavior, yeah, that's the method that I'm going to be explaining today. So say for instance, I don't know, just in case your girlfriend cheats on you or something, that's your thought, yeah. But your emotions, obviously, that would be insecure, paranoia, anxiety, nervousness, whatever it is. What would your behaviours be with that? Would your behaviour be talking to her about it? Or will it be controlling her? Or will it be becoming more possessive towards her? Or checking her stuff? Maybe one of those things. But those are kind of like the negative behaviours that would affect the situation more. Because say for instance, the more you act like that, the more you would believe that she is cheating on you. And do you know why is that? Because if you behave like that and you check on her phone or you control her, you'd feel bad about that, wouldn't you? Like if you checked her stuff or if you controlled her and telling her what to do and who not to talk to and stuff, like you would feel guilty because you'd feel that, oh, why do I have to do that to her for? What, I'm such a horrible man, kind of thing. And to that guilt would sort of back up the fact that she is cheating on you, because if you feel guilty, you would then try to act defensive. So if you blame yourself and feel guilty about it and say, oh, I shouldn't have did that, then in that respect, because you're blaming yourself and that you shouldn't have done that, you then automatically push those thoughts onto her and blame her instead. And if you blame her, you'd feel that she's angry with you because you're putting the blame on her, and you'd feel that she might cheat on you even more. So that's like a cycle, isn't it? So the more you think she's going to cheat on you, the more you behave in a way where you think that it will prove that she is cheating on you. It's really complicated. And another example is, say, your workload. Say, for instance, if you've got a lot of deadline of work to do, that's your thought, like you can't finish it on time, or you feel that you're going to fail your workload. But your emotions to that thought is probably, I don't know, like worry, panic, anxiety, sleepless nights. Also, you might feel a bit frustrated and probably a bit angry actually, because it has been said that so many people feel more anxious and angry than other emotions due to workload. And those are your emotions. but how you behave is the main focus of that, because no one's going to know what you think, no one's going to know how you feel. The only time someone can identify how you think and how you feel and how you show it is how you behave. So if say for instance, if you're thinking that you're going to fail, no one's going to know that. If you think that if you feel that you're frustrated and anxious about the fact that you can't finish your workload on time, no one's going to know that, only you know that. So you don't have to worry about that, because no one will ever know until you act and behave. The way you might behave is you might cancel appointments, you might even make excuses to your boss or your employer or your tutor at college or anything like that about the deadline. So if they ever bring up any conversations about your workload, like say for instance if you have a group session or something like that, or about the workload and how's everyone getting on, the way you behave, you might sort of avoid the conversation. So you might listen, but you might not comment as much, and that's how you might behave if you have a lot of workload to get up with, basically. So everyone deals with their situations differently. All my examples that I've given you today is not how you would definitely think and how you would definitely feel and how you definitely would behave. These are just examples, because everybody deals with their issues differently. Everyone thinks differently, everyone feels differently, everyone behaves differently. So it is important to be aware of your thoughts and your emotions and your behaviours to the emotions from the thoughts. So it is definitely a good way to sort out the situations, just to be aware. To be aware, how I mean about being aware is to sort of be aware of your thoughts. What are you thinking at the moment? Ask yourself open questions. What is on your mind today? And how do you feel about that situation? How do you feel about that thought? And most importantly, how did you behave in that thought? How did you deal with it? So how I mean by dealing with the thought and the emotion is how you behave, because how you dealt with it is how you behaved. And obviously, as I said before, how you deal with it, how you behave is really important, because nobody will ever know what's on your mind. Nobody's ever going to know what you're thinking or feeling. And that's a good thing, because if you don't want people to know what you're thinking and how you're feeling, it is important to be aware of how you behave and how you show it, because sometimes how you deal with things and how you behave feeds the thoughts. So the existing thoughts and emotions that you have already may have been the result of how you dealt with it before, if you know what I'm talking about, if that makes sense. I know it can be a bit difficult to understand, but I just want to let you know how it affects you, your thoughts and your emotions. Another example is, say for instance, if I don't know, you have OCD and you're a bit obsessive compulsive about something. Also that if you I don't know, like you're scared in case you burn the house down or something, and you have to keep checking like the ovens and stuff to see if it's off, if you've turned the whole oven off and stuff like that. Well, your thought, basically, if you're scared in case like the house burns down, that's your thought, right? Your emotions would be panic, worry, anxiety, and probably more, because I can't tell you how you feel. Behaviour to that is probably constant checking on the oven, constant obsessing, checking, and keep going downstairs to check every second obsessively and majorly. And obviously, because you keep checking the oven and you keep doing that and obsessing over it, it has become a habit of checking. And when it becomes a habit, guess what that does? Guess what the behaviour actually did? It fed the thought that you're going to burn the house down, because it increases your OCD, it increases your obsessiveness about the house is going to burn down, because the more you act towards your thoughts and your emotions, the more you're not going to break out that cycle. You're always going to think that you're going to burn the house down and you have to definitely keep checking the ovens and stuff. It's just going to go round and round and round and round and round. And in order to break the cycle is to find out which bit of the cycle, your thoughts, emotions, behaviour, which part of those is easier for you to go cold turkey. But if you don't want to go cold turkey, you have to sort of deal with it and sort it out in little steps, basically. Because if you go cold turkey, there's a likelihood of you relapsing, which means that the likelihood of you behaving that way again and going back to that situation again. So that is important to be aware of, basically. And obviously, as I said about finding the easiest part to deal with, to break the cycle, is obviously finding out, is it your thoughts? That's easier to stop thinking, but you can't stop thinking. Your emotions, yeah, some people say, oh, I can't control my emotions because it's automatic, because you didn't plan to feel like that, did you? Your emotions just popped up like that, didn't it? So you couldn't control your emotions, that's how you felt. But you've got your behaviour left. So you've got your thoughts, emotions, behaviour. You can't control your thoughts because thoughts are automatic. Your emotions just come like that, that's how you feel. But your behaviour, can you adjust your behaviour? Can you change your behaviour? If you can't change your thoughts, you can't change your emotions, can you change your behaviour? Yes or no? If it's yes, that's good, because if that's easier for you to change, then you can adjust your behaviour. But if you feel that it's your emotions that you can change, that's really good, because it's really difficult to change your emotions and controlling them. So it's really good if you can do that as well. If you also can change your thoughts, that's excellent, because that means that you are very self-aware and you know what you're doing and you know what's wrong and what you need to do to achieve something in your life. So that's really good. That's really skilled if you can change your thoughts and emotions. So yeah, that's really good if you can. So just basically focus on your thoughts, emotions and behaviours, and which bits of those can you change, and what sort of things that you're not happy with, or what are you worried about, what's on your mind. So just ask yourself to be aware of where you are at the moment and what sort of issues you need to sort out, is to just ask yourself open questions. Hello, talk to yourself, basically. Don't talk to yourself though, because that's weird, but just ask yourself, or just write it down or something, or you can just ask yourself. Just do it. I talk to myself all the time, but like I am now, no one's here. So just basically ask yourself, what are my thoughts of today? How are you feeling? And how did I behave? Just watch yourself. Watch how you behave. Just observe. I wouldn't say watch. I'd say observe yourself. Just relax. You have to be in a relaxed mode in order, and you have to be alone, and you have to be not doing much, to be fair, in order to do it. Whenever you have some spare time, just think to yourself, because it is important to be aware. If you're unaware of certain things, you might end up behaving in a way that you don't even know what you're doing. Some people, have you ever heard of that, when people say, oh, I don't know why I did that, I can't believe I did that, I don't even know why I did it. Like, so many people say things like that. It's because at the time they weren't observing themselves, they weren't aware of what they were doing, because they were busy with other things that's distracting them to be aware. So whenever you have time, just think to yourself, ask yourself those questions, and hopefully you can understand everything that I said today. Thanks for listening.